Good morning, afternoon, evening, or good night. Who knows what time is anymore? Professor Clifford Treblemaker here with another episode of Ask and Answer. Now, I'll be doing the asking, and our conductor, David Allen Miller, will be doing the answering. Hello, David!
Hello, Professor. It's so nice to see you. How are you?
David, I have to remind you again, I am doing the asking. Simple instructions here. Now, today we're talking all about batons. David, start by telling us what a baton is.
Professor, what is a baton? Well, I'll hold one up for you. A baton, as you know, is this mysterious thing that a conductor waves that magically gets the musicians to make their music. But a baton is usually made out of wood or sometimes some kind of synthetic thing like fiberglass or something like that. And it usually has a little ball of one kind or another. I brought a whole bunch of them here. Here's one that has kind of a round ball, and these are made out of cork down here, and these are wood batons, and this one's kind of fiberglass. But the ball is so that when you grab it and wave it, it doesn't go flying out of your hand and bop somebody on the head.
Well, David, you are a baton hoarder. Now, David, how does a conductor keep rhythm?
Another very challenging question. How does a conductor keep rhythm? Well, in a way, the most important part of the job of a conductor is in fact that he or she is kind of like a rhythm machine, or if you've seen or worked with one of those metronomes, which is a little machine that goes click, 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 right, that often we use when we practice the piano to make sure it stays in time and things like that. I'm like a human metronome. So my whole training when I went to school and when I practice and when I get ready and when I play the piano is really to make sure that my pulse, like a heartbeat or like the pulse of a person, is super steady so that I can keep the rhythm. Then the musicians all look to me, and as I'm waving my baton, I'm actually keeping the beat or the rhythm, which again is kind of like my most important job.
I see. So, David, would you say that the rhythm is gonna get you?
Eventually the rhythm is going to get everyone. That's true.
What happens if there is no conductor?
What happens? Terrible, terrible things happen, of course, Professor. Otherwise, I'd be out of a job. Actually, it depends. With very small groups or orchestras, we call them ensembles, you often don't need a conductor because the people in the group are really perfectly able to keep the pulse, the same pulse, together. But as your group gets larger, it becomes more important to have one person kind of in charge in the center who's, again, kind of like the rhythm machine who's keeping it all together. So, interestingly, conductors are a fairly recent invention. Even though the music we play has been going on for 400 or 500 years, conductors are only about 200 years old. Like I myself am 203. Conducting has only been around for 200 years or so. And that's because as orchestras got bigger, because concert halls got bigger and audiences got bigger, they needed one person to kind of be the glue to put it all together, to hold it all together. So I'm that glue.
I see. So you're saying that if the orchestra is little, it might not need a conductor.
Right, but we hate to say that because conductors always...
Joanne, you hear that? We don't need a conductor anymore. David, now I noticed that conductors usually conduct with their right hands. Are there any left-handed conductors?
A wonderful question, Professor. There are, in fact, a number of left-handed conductors, and some of them conduct with their left hand, just like they're actually, I don't know if you noticed, but most violin players play this way, but occasionally you'll see a violin player who plays this way, and then also most guitar players play this way, but Paul McCartney plays this way. So it's totally possible to do it on either side. It's just because I'm ashamed to say it's largely been a right-sided world. Most conductors conduct with their right hands and then do the other stuff with their left hands.
David, I have a serious question. Now,
Yes.
What happens if the conductor is late?
That's a very bad thing for the conductor because there's so many people who want to be conductors that within a moment the orchestra will have replaced that conductor with a different conductor. So I make sure never to arrive late so nobody can replace me.
Well, David, this is a hard way to tell you this, but we're replacing you with a chicken at the next concert. That's all the time we have for now.
Professor,
David and I will
you
be...
haven't asked me the most important question of all.
And what question is that?
That question is, why does a conductor need a baton?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Why does a conductor need a baton?
Oh, I was hoping you would tell me, Professor, because after all these years of being a conductor, I'm not entirely sure of the answer. It seems to me that if I just waved my hand the way I wave my baton, the orchestra would probably still be fine. So the question becomes, why do we need this stick? And in fact, as you probably know, baton is a French word meaning stick. Although it turns out, on a trip to France recently, I said to a lady I was a conductor, and she said, oh wait, I'm off topic now, hold on. But it's called a baton because a baton means stick. And but I've seen many conductors conduct quite beautifully just with their hand, although I think it might be a little confusing to know which finger you, the trumpet player or the violin player, are supposed to follow. So the baton is still a mysterious thing, even to us conductors. We're not entirely sure why or that we need one.
Well, that was riveting. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for now. David and I will be back soon with more questions, more answers, and I'm hoping some lunch and maybe a light dessert, and perhaps a new pair of slacks for me. Now, for the Little Orchestra Society, this is Professor Clifford O. Treblemaker reminding you to take care of yourselves, wash your batons now that you know what they are, and if you can, help take care of us by clicking the donate button. Please. So long, everybody.
Bye.